Oh, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Oh, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Black Betty, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Black Betty, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Jump steady, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Jump steady, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Oh, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Oh, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Looky on the Black Betty, bam ba lam. Looky on the Black Betty, bam ba lam. Turn around, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Jump down, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Oh, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Oh, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Black Betty had a baby, bam ba lam. Black Betty had a baby, bam ba lam. Little thing went crazy, bam ba lam. Little thing went crazy, bam ba lam. Oh, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Oh, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Jump steady, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Jump steady, Black Betty, bam ba lam. Look at yonder Black Betty, bam ba lam. Look at yonder Black Betty, bam ba lam. Oh, Black Betty, bam a lamb, oh Black Betty, bam a lamb, little thing went blind, bam a lamb, a little thing went blind, bam a lamb, I said it wasn't none of mine, bam a lamb, they said it wasn't none of mine, bam a lamb, what about it, Black Betty, bam a lamb, what about it, Black Betty, bam a lamb, oh Black Betty, bam a lamb, oh Black Betty, bam a lamb, look at yonder Black Betty, bam a lamb, jump steady, Black Betty, bam a lamb, run yonder Black Betty, bam a lamb, turn around, Black Betty, bam a lamb, eh, Black Betty, bam a lamb, eh, Black Betty, bam a lamb, look at yonder Black Betty, bam a lamb, run around, Black Betty, bam a lamb, jump down, Black Betty, bam a lamb, turn around, Black Betty, bam a lamb, eh, Black Betty, bam a lamb, eh, Black Betty, bam a lamb.
Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. Oh dear, there we are. Almost got the Wharf supercut in there. My name's Jake. How are you all doing? I understand we got a raid from the Letter Hack. Well, thank you so much. Good to see you all. My word. Let's say hello to the gang. Saucy Sea Witch, the Anti-Corporatist, the Letter Hack. My man, good to see you. Atticus among us. Pinkerbell, Looney Tunes 9000, Emily French, Richard Hinckley, mowing up. I've never known how to say that name. You'll have to correct me. Latino Mufune, Dominico, Aaron W., the whole gang, Anti-Corporatist. I see you there. Donald James X, you too. It's good to see you all. You know what terrible news I haven't heard lately? Lately, I haven't heard that the government has brutally murdered an American citizen for no reason. That's been the cause of some disagreement somehow amongst Americans for some time. And yet, lately, I haven't heard about that happening. And I had a horrifying thought. And my horrifying thought was, is it because the government truly hasn't brutally murdered an American citizen for no reason lately? Or is it because we're too exhausted to check? Given the statistic that that a black American twice as likely as a white American to be shot to death when they are unarmed, I assume it's because we haven't checked. However, maybe we just got lucky. Wouldn't that be lovely? One thing that for sure is not the cause of us not hearing about the American government brutally murdering its own citizens for no reason is anything having been done about it since the last time it happened. The last thing I'm aware of was the Ed Markey reintroducing Justin Amash's and a Democrat whose name escapes me from Massachusetts, their End Qualified Immunity Act. That's the last I heard about it. But given the fact I can't find a press release about it passing, I'm just going to assume until the responsible parties inform me otherwise, the murderers. I'm going to assume that it hasn't yet passed. That we're going to keep playing this Russian roulette with every time a person of color drives, that maybe they'll be spotted and harassed by someone who will do their best to escalate the situation and then commit a murder and get away with it. Woof. So here's the deal, gang. I'd like your help. I would like your help. I would like your ideas. Throughout, I'm going to talk about a whole mess of things today, some related to that topic, some not. But let's deal with this problem. My question to you, toss them in the chat as ideas come to you, and prop up the ideas you see other people tossing in that you agree with. How do we deal with this? I think ending qualified immunity is a great start. I'd also like to see unarmed officers. I would like police officers to be more often unarmed than not. I think that's reasonable. I think we should not have the frickin' kill troopers out there. I don't want somebody with a full zombie apocalypse kit writing tickets, because you don't need a zombie apocalypse kit for really anything, but especially for writing tickets. That's my thoughts on the matter. Hey, speaking of, do you want to have a look at some of these comments? I do. Groove Dragon. Colorado, Connecticut, New Mexico, and New York City have either ended qualified immunity altogether or limited its application in court cases involving state law claims. I think that's a great start. I think on a state-by-state basis, you either have an opportunity right now, because of the way you voted 2 years ago, to get such a bill introduced in your state, or you have an opportunity in a few months to get people in power in your state who will introduce such a bill. Let me toss this at you as well. Even if you're in a cherry red state, if you can get one Democrat in as your representative in that state, they introduce a bill, then the Republican Party that stops it from getting passed will have to own the next brutal murder. I think that's a good thing. I think it is helpful for everyone to see who is doing this. Republicans certainly are the Murder American Citizens Party, and making them all stand up and say, no, we will not pass a bill to limit the ability of police to get away with literal murder, that'll be healthy. But congratulations to New York City. I know not state. Where was it? Massachusetts? Oh, Colorado, Connecticut, New Mexico, and New York City. Congratulations. Next up, by the way, is to make that a federal law. Oh, good night, Donald James. Aaron W., better allocation of public funds. I agree, but we need to be specific if we expect to see it carried out. Tinkerbell, the Denver model. I think Springfield, Oregon does the same. They don't send officers to mental health calls. They send trained mental health professionals. That is an excellent plan. I like that. I think in order for that to take effect, it needs to be a rule as opposed to a suggestion. That means the states have to insist upon it for all their localities. Saucy Sea Witch, I'm a Newfoundlander here. I'm Newfoundland there. Wait. Newfoundland. Oh, in Newfoundland, there are a group of people called mummers who visit after Christians and storm in looking for liquor and food. In exchange, they play music on homemade instruments made with mops. I need to go to Newfoundland. That's fantastical. I love it. Oh, a very kind super chat from the anti-corporatist. In my honest opinion, for $4.99, thank you. In my humble opinion, they should be more scared to pull the trigger than to get shot themselves. They're wearing vests. New rules of engagement. I agree with that reasoning. I don't think they should have the option to pull a trigger. If you're a police officer and somebody is shooting at you, I think you should be allowed to run away. Yep. You don't have to. You don't have to have a gun battle in the street. For the same reason, you're not supposed to pursue a car at top speed next to a school. This isn't. It's not the OK Corral. Wicked Foxy Dragon. Thanking the anti-corporatist for his support, and me too, man. I appreciate it. Saucy Sea Witch, the way you say Newfoundland makes me giggle. Oh no. Then don't correct me. I'll keep saying it wrong in a way you enjoy. Looney Tunes 9000. So most of us are here. Well, I send half to Dusty Smith and another half to Dan from the internet. Oh, it's the anti-corporatist, very good crowd here. Agreed on all points. Groove Dragon. That Denver program has a great name. Support Team Assisted Response. STAR. Okay, I like that. And it also makes it easier to communicate to our representatives. The STAR model. I want us to start following the STAR model. Good. Let us do that. By the way, amongst the elections coming up for many of you will be an election for sheriff. Pay special attention. If nobody is running right now, if nobody's running for sheriff that you think ought to be in control of the local constabulary of the cops in your area, look around for somebody that you think ought to be and try to convince them to run. Now I'm torn. I'm going to leave this up to you, wicked audience. I'm going to do another story, and then I'm going to come check on this poll. Here is the poll. Should we watch Acorn Cop? That is the I have a point to make about it. But that is the video wherein two police officers fire upon a car that contains a suspect they've arrested. A suspect who is unarmed and handcuffed. They both fire into that vehicle. Don't worry, the suspect survived. But they fire into that vehicle because one of them heard an acorn drop and panicked. However, I mean, a lot of us have seen a lot of videos of people getting gunned down for real by the police. As in, they didn't also miss in addition to firing wildly at nothing. They didn't also happen to miss civilians. They, in fact, did hit civilians or did hit who they intended to hit and called them a criminal even though they hadn't done anything wrong. My point being, if it's too much for you, if you don't want to see it, be honest. If you don't want to see it, say no in the poll. It's fine. I just want to get your sense of it. And also, feel free in the comments to say, no, this is just traumatizing for me. Please don't. But if you're okay with the sound of gunfire, with the knowledge that nobody is actually hit by it, rather miraculously, then we'll watch that video. I'll poke fun at the cops, and then I'll say what ought to have happened and what did happen. Wicked Foxy Dragon. Have you seen the cartoon movie Chicken Little? Shockingly, I have. Yeah, I saw the Pixar animated one. Pitchfork's Dragon, again, warrior cop training. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Got another story here. Let's get to it. He said, thinking he had the clip at hand. All right. Go. Stand by while I set her up. Nope. There we go. And the recording. Now, I have been rightly accused of being hard on Republicans, the voters as well as the politicians. And I say rightly accused because I am, because I feel they deserve it. Case in point, these people will change their opinion about whether or not actions were moral and correct based on who did them. I have to thank Jimmy Kimmel for this one. This is from Jimmy Kimmel Live. Here are Trump supporters being hypocrites.
I ask you who you voted for in the last election?
Trump.
Trump. I'm going to guess you voted for Trump.
It says Donald Trump.
Do you mind if I just ask you a few questions about things that Biden has done in his administration, and you can kind of give me your opinion on that? What did you think when Joe Biden suggested that COVID could be cured by shining a bright light inside the body?
It is very sad that Joe Biden is clearly a dementia patient.
Supposedly hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light.
What do you think about Joe?
Let me just be clear about one thing before we continue. It's going to be all this, don't worry. She said, what did you think when you heard that? This person didn't directly acknowledge that they had heard that, because of course they didn't, because they couldn't have. But she pretended like she was aware of it. She pretended like it was a known thing that Joe Biden said this thing that Trump said. And then she talked about the talking points Fox has given her. This is who we're dealing with. These people are not honest on any level. Maybe not even with themselves. But when they talk about these things, it is so blatantly clear that they have set aside right or wrong policies for a second. Obviously, terrible policy suggestions. But it's not even as good as that. It's not even like they're trying to solve these problems. They have no knowledge of what is happening around them at any given time. Let's enjoy the rest of this.
Biden saying that getting through the 80s without getting HIV was his own personal Vietnam.
Again, it's very sad, his mental capacity, and that is a very uneducated statement.
Okay, I'm so sorry. These are not, I got my notes mixed up. Can I ask you this question? Can we start over and me ask you what? Okay.
What a brilliant way to do that, too. Oh, I'm sorry, I got my notes mixed up. Now, it's a little dishonest, but I mean, given what it's the kind of trap that only works on somebody who's themselves trying to trick people. So I'm perfectly fine with this interviewer for Jimmy Kimmel using this strategy, because it doesn't get you if you're being honest.
What did you think when Donald Trump suggested that COVID could be cured by shining a bright light into the body?
It depends what that technology is.
Okay. What did you?
That's a broad spectrum because, you know, you have MRI machines and CT machines and infrared and
Yeah.
different things. So it just depends.
Doesn't work either way. It doesn't work if she's if Biden says that and her mind jumps to dementia patient. Well, then she should be thinking dementia patient for Trump. Or if she thinks there's something good about it, then she should have been given that answer for Biden. Well, there's all these technologies, all these vague technologies. Obviously, though, the point is made. She doesn't know or care what's happening around her. Facts are not important to her. And this person truly shouldn't be in charge of putting together a child's lunch for school, much less deciding who the leader of the United States is going to be. Who's in charge of the most destructive military force in the world? For that answer, we're going to go to this plank.
The context of that.
What did you think of Donald Trump saying that getting through the 80s without getting HIV was his own personal Vietnam? Dementia patient?
No, I don't believe that.
There are accusations that Joe Biden cheated on his wife with a porn star after his son was born.
Couldn't think of a way to spin
and there's
that.
actually a paper trail showing he paid the sex worker $130,000 to keep quiet about it.
Who did that? Joe
Biden.
And he
Now, see, this guy almost has it. He's like, ooh, I think I heard Trump did that. But he's going to double down. He doesn't care. He's thinking, oh, well, even though I just now consciously thought, wasn't that Donald Trump? I'm going to try to find a way to say Biden bad, Trump good.
He was making, I think, less than $100,000 a year at that time
That's right.
as a congressman, a senator. Now, how does he do that?
You tell me. Would you
You're a
vote for
reporter.
someone that...
You know, that logic actually does pan out. His beef being, well, how could he afford to pay the hush money?
Of course not.
Okay. So Trump did do that
Trump had a fling with Stormy Daniels.
and paid her $130,000.
Hush money, yes.
And you're voting for him.
I am. My father had affairs too, and I still respect him.
How do you feel about Joe Biden using his bone
Maybe don't tell
spurs
that to the whole
dodge
nation.
the Vietnam draft?
Joe Biden has a problem. He isn't an American. He isn't a patriot.
I'm sorry. I asked you. I said Biden and I meant Trump. So those were things that.
Oh, Trump?
Trump. Yes. Can I ask you the question again with
Yes,
the right
you may.
name? I'm so sorry. How do you feel about Donald Trump using his bone spurs to dodge the Vietnam draft?
My brother-in-law had flat feet. So I'm sure you cannot go into a military zone, a Vietnam zone, or any of the other zones with bad.
You get it. So look, these are not people you're going to reach by laying out a bunch of facts and figures. Obviously, we've talked about this at length. There's the why of it. They're not listening to these things. They don't. They are trained very well by con artists to be the ultimate con target. So you have to just be frank with them and let them know that the people they support are terrible, and show them videos like that. Make it clear that their opinions are not to be respected if they say they vote Republican. Now here's the really truly sad reality. That's been the Republican Party for my whole life. My entire life, that has been the Republican Party. They just used to be better at selling it. It used to be that there would be a coherent lie that works with the other lies about why they do the things they do. And the only time we would have moments like this would be every couple of years when the new studies came out and we got to say, oh, see, look, that thing we said would happen if you did that disastrous policy, it happened. And then they'd say, oh, that's yesterday's news. That's one thing in 1,000. Never mind the fact that every single time this is what happened. Trickle-down economics, deregulating banks, deregulating the fossil fuel industry every single time. Deregulating the transportation industry every single time. Irrelevant. They didn't care. So, in my humble opinion, be blunt with Republicans. Don't ever let it rest at, well, we both have our own political opinions. If somebody's political opinion is that they're a Republican, they're telling you that their political opinion is that they are a dupe of con artists. And I think you have an obligation to inform them of that. And maybe show them that video. All right, let's have a look at what the wicked audience has to say. Take note, says Atticus Among Us, that she didn't know the quote. Interesting. Wireless Mike, they will lie to your face and smile while doing it. It is true. It is true. Groove Dragon, Chef's Kiss, Baby. Yes. Teddy Cool, good to see you. Atticus Among Us, she is clearly in an echo chamber if she's unaware of the quote and who said it. Yeah. The anti-corporatist... Oh, excuse me. Oh, yeah. Trump or Hitler is a fun game, only they're always both. Yes, that's a fantastic game. Hitchfork's Dragon. Man on Mama's bone spurs suck. Trump didn't have no damn bone spurs. Yeah. All right. We've got the end of the Acorn Cop poll. That's 73% yes, 26% no. Works for me. Here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to turn the volume down significantly on this video when we play. We will play it, but I'll turn the volume way down, and I will narrate to you what is happening. I think that's a good plan. One hopes. Oh, we had to do it, folks. We had to do it. We had to talk about Acorn Cop. Because so often when this stuff happens, there's a body at the end. Someone's lying on the street at the end of it. And for that reason, a lot of times, people aren't aware of it, or they're only aware of the headline, but they don't actually see the actions being taken by people who are allowed to call themselves police. And that's a problem. It allows them to imagine more professional behavior from the police than actually happens. But as has been making its way around the internet and various media outlets, we now got an example of the way police behave that doesn't result in a body bag, but absolutely could have. Might have, if not for what I can only assume is the hand of the Lord Christ. I shouldn't blaspheme. The hand of God reaching down and moving those bullets away from the skull of the person who was trapped in the back of the police car. But here's what happened. To set off a barrage of police bullets, an acorn fell from a tree. Okay, now let me just pause it right there for a moment. I'm going to turn this video way down. The person shrieking gunfire is a police officer. And in the back of their car that they were just walking past. See, yeah, they're walking past that car. Very important that you know that in the back seat, there's a human being who is in, this is an important word, that police officer's custody. Notice they call it that. When they're arresting you, you are in their custody, as in their care becomes your responsibility. Their safety becomes your responsibility. That's a good thing to make note of. Okay, so that person has been searched, handcuffed, and placed in the back of the vehicle. Officers walking past. Acorn falls on the top of the car. Cop shrieks. Gunfire, gunfire. He moved awfully fast away from that vehicle, didn't he? He just scattered. Certainly didn't have time to see that there was no bullet holes in anything. But there's about to be. Again, I want to stress, the person in the back of that car is not hit once. Not once by bullets. It's a miracle. Shooting, 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 shooting. You see all the stuff flying off the car. That's because the imagined bullets that were in the cop's head caused them to fire real bullets into the car. Then they point their gun that they had just rapidly fired at another cop. The other side there. They shriek. They shriek. Shots fired to the other cop, who then also, yeah, and they've got their tactical little aimer assist on there. Good, cute. They fall sideways. They're shooting it like it's a 90s action movie. They've fallen sideways, really lighting up the car, trying their very best to kill the person inside. Oh, good. Yeah, pop another clip in there. Oh, crawling away. Now I've turned the volume down, so you might not know this, but the officer thinks they've been hit at this point. I want to stress, the only thing that's happened to them is an acorn fell on a car, they flopped down and fired their gun many times. So they aren't hit by anything, but they think they've been hit, and they tell their partner that they've been hit. I think I've been hit, I think they say. Here's the other end of it. The partner is talking to this woman. I'm going to turn the volume up for a little bit here.
Okay, it's okay.
Again, suspected of stealing his girlfriend's car. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he did. None of that entitles you to being executed. And certainly not when you are a suspect, as in you haven't been convicted. And even then, it wouldn't be the street-level officers that carry out the execution. In other words, they just are playing with people's lives. He's shrieked shots fired because he heard an acorn fall, for God's sake. This officer, rightly confused because they have searched the suspect already.
What? Where?
Shots fired. Oh, who am I killing?
There?
Unloads into the car. Turning that way down again. From both sides, they're firing into that car. He had been previously searched before the deputy yelled, "Shots fired," multiple times. Then the chaos, then the shooting. Let's talk about this on the other side. So here's what I'd like you to try to picture. What could Marcus there have done to not get shot at between the point that the police arrived And when a hail of bullets flies all around him, what could he have done to not be shot at? Sounds like basically effing nothing, right? The next time you hear about a black person running from the cops for no reason, just hauling ass away as soon as they see the cops, remember Marcus, who survived thanks to apparently having God owe him one? Luck. What would have happened, do you think, in your heart of hearts, if they would have hit him 17 times? Spread his guts all over the inside of that car. What would have happened? I have a feeling that they would have said he kicked the door, or he was thrashing around inside the vehicle, or he mimed a gun. I have a feeling that they would have attributed one of the many bullet holes in the car to having come from him, and they would have found an unregistered gun miraculously in the back seat right next to him, on top of the blood and glass. That's what I suspect, but I truly don't know. I can only say that opinion is based off of what did happen to these cops. Number one, the police officer that poured bullets into the car initially was allowed to leave. Not charged with reckless endangerment. They're not currently awaiting trial, as they should be. I'm trying to remember if they were allowed to quit or if they were quietly fired. Either one is a disgrace. That the only thing that stopped that from being manslaughter is that he couldn't shoot straight. Saved by his own incompetence. Now, the partner could still be policing you. They're still out there, the partner is, because they were found to not be at fault. And I'll grant this. They shouldn't be charged as harshly as Acorn Cop. But there is not a scenario where we can say that it is okay for a person to shoot at another unarmed person who is handcuffed in the back of a car. There is no such scenario. You just cannot be a cop if that's something you've done. I'll say this, because you can't be trusted with a gun. You have to know what you're shooting at. Hunters understand this. You have to know what you're shooting at. Otherwise, don't shoot. I'll say this. I would be okay with that person remaining a police officer if we had an unarmed division. You know, they were too eager to end a life on the unreliable word of their junior partner. That was a relatively new cop, unsurprisingly. Because they didn't know to keep their body cam covered at all times. New cop, you understand. But if there was a type of police officer, a type of job in the police that was readily available where you write tickets and you take reports, and yes, you arrest people, but you're armed like the British police are, which is to say, not. Because we don't want assassins We don't want wannabe Rambos. I dearly love Die Hard, but I don't want John McClane writing my tickets. I'm not Hans Gruber, and I don't want him out there just waiting for someone to talk to him in a German accent, you know? Talk about this. Acorn Cop, gang, what do you think? Richard Hinckley, yeah, I really don't get firing a weapon without having a specific target. Again, like Wireless Mike was saying, but this time it's just Cyril's suppressing fire tactic. Yes. Yes. Pitchfork's Dragon, let's be real, he'll be hired somewhere else as a cop. I think that is not unreasonable. That happens so frequently that we are right to assume. Mr. G. I did hear he was fired also. Good. Good. That's not good enough, though. That's reckless endangerment. And frankly, if you want to say, well, that person genuinely thought their life was in danger, let me put it like this. When we don't put criminal charges on behavior like that, then we are saying the chain of events from at one point somebody looking up and saying, we need more police, to the person training police officers in the academy, to the person hiring police officers, to the person who does the psychological exam, to the armorer who supplies them with a pistol. We are saying none of them made a mistake. That everything went the way it must go. Oh, they got fired. It didn't work out. But no crime was committed. Because the system works. But I show you that video because that happens constantly. Police shriek gun and mow down a teenager, and they take out of their dead hands a cell phone. All the time. They shoot people in the back. They shoot people in the back of the head. They pistol whip people and the gun goes off and it takes off the top of their head. I'm just naming things that have happened in relatively recent articles. Somebody's at fault. Somebody needs to go to jail at the minimum. Is it the officer themselves? I'd be okay with that. But I would prefer that the person who told the public, this person here, who in short time will be known as Acorn Cop and will unload a clip and some change into the back of a police car with a person in it. This person, I give a gun to and permission to do as they please with it. That person, I think, ought to go to jail. The person that hired him, the person who was in charge of ensuring that that the streets are safe. They did the opposite. They took a suspect in a nonviolent crime and nearly committed a violent crime about it. And our failure to call it a crime doesn't make it any less so. Pitchfork's Dragon. It's the trash training. It's the training. They're training our law enforcement to put us in more danger than the criminals. Yeah. Saucy Sea Witch. Fox News. Oak Tree attacks officer. Perfectly put. Groove Dragon. Local prosecutor declined to file charges. You know what? Let's do this right now. Acorn Cop prosecutor. What county is this? Florida, sure. Okaloosa County. Stand by. Okaloosa County Prosecutor's Office. First Judicial Court. Felony Department. This is interesting. Well, gang, I'm going to have to make sure this is correct. And if it is, it's going to be in the upload of this here video. If you're interested in talking, I think this is it, these prosecutors, telling them that that you think this ought to have been charged. I think that's a good thing to do. And there's the prosecutor's contact information. Environmental Coffee House. Good to see you, Sandy. I'm here. I'm just quiet because I've been working for hours. I'm finally finished. Congratulations. Oh, good to see you, Obsessive Audio. Snixabia, perhaps the squirrel who pelted the acorn, or the car with the acorn that scared the poor officer. You know, I'm going to let that squirrel have a pass. Because I feel like the officer ought to be tough enough to endure squirrel sass. You can't endure squirrel sass, then it's just not the fault of the squirrel. I got some good news for us, though. Let's chat about this. Oh, I so thought I had it. There we go. Recording. The South shall fall again if Governor Glenn Youngkin signs a piece of paper. From the AP, Sarah Rankin writing, United Daughters of the Confederacy would lose Virginia tax breaks if Youngkin signs off. Legislation that would end tax benefits for the United Daughters of the Confederacy, the Richmond-based women's group that helped erect many of the country's Confederate monuments, ensuring that black people would feel uncomfortable in those towns, is on its way to the Republican Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, who hasn't said whether he supports it, because he is a coward. One of two things will happen. Either Glenn Youngkin will sign the bill. Pin in that. Good. Pin in that. We'll return to it. Or he won't. This will be in the VOD. I'm going to include Glenn Youngkin's contact information. Contact him. Let him know you want him to sign the bill. Say, I don't respect people who stand against our country with the Confederacy. It is an embarrassment that this organization ever received tax breaks. Do sign that bill. Do not fail to sign that bill, I should say. That's what you should tell him. If he does sign the bill, the very next thing we should do is find out how much the United Daughters of the Confederacy, the filth that they are, got in tax breaks since their founding. Calculate the interest and give all the money, all that value from the taxpayers of the United States to, let's say, the NAACP. or what, Morehouse College, just to make a point. So, write the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin. Tell him you intend to see that bill signed, whether he or his replacement signs it. And regardless, let's acknowledge that it's the fault of everyone alive today, you and me included, that the United Daughters of the Confederacy, for God's sake, traitors to the country, avowed racists, were allowed to get tax breaks in a government that existed with our permission. And let's compensate. Let's compensate the people whose lives they were trying to make worse. Gang, I had a blast hanging out with you today. But I got to scram. I know it was a relatively short show. But I'm getting all the warning signs from a computer that is about to crash. So before that happens, thank you so much for joining me. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. I'll see you around.